South Africa's immigration debate is reaching a boiling point. In Durban, tensions erupted after a confrontation between police and Malawian nationals awaiting repatriation. At the same time, angry residents and activists in Tembisa took to the streets demanding tougher action against illegal immigration. Are these isolated incidents or signs of a much bigger crisis facing the nation? Stay with us as we
there in Sherwood, and it looks like a stun grenade has just been thrown into the crowd. Things getting a little bit chaotic. Nogwazi, I don't know if you're able to hear me, but what has led to this tension at this moment? Yeah. All right, it seems that Nogwazi herself concerned about her own safety as they seem to be throwing things. We saw just moments ago these migrants also throwing stones and sticks. You'd remember that this is a situation that's been playing out now in Sherwood Park in Durban for weeks, with Malawians that are waiting to be repatriated and sent back home. This morning we've seen buses, of course, in there to try and take these Malawians back home. The latest being the Malawian government also requesting for donations to be sent, but things are seemingly getting quite heated there in Durban, with sticks and stones being thrown. Nogwazi, if you are able to hear me and are able to speak, please do let us know what you're seeing and what led to the tensions that we're seeing playing out at the moment.
Good morning, Naledi. What happened is there was a bit of frustration on the side of some of the men that are gathered here. They were stressed over what they described as lack of communication on the side of officials, as they're wondering why their counterparts were being taken to court. And after the immigration officials tried to explain to them that a new process has been undertaken, they were like, but why was that not communicated with them, and why is it only that that method is only being introduced when it's men who have to board buses taking them back home? Despite the repeated reassurance from officials, the men continued expressing frustration, saying that on their side they also don't understand why the buses have been delayed, why their government is not working fast enough to bring buses for them. And then that's when things started escalating, because the police tried to ask them to step back, to go back where they have been gathering, where they have been sitting, and they just did not want to adhere to that. People were breaking branches, chanting, and slowly...
There's an issue that needs to be addressed, and I want to say to the ambassadors, I am so happy that you've come. South Africa is dealing with a very serious allegation that we are a xenophobic country. So I want you to go back today after what I'm going to say. When you hear the term Abahambe, I was the one that popularized that term.
What began as a humanitarian situation at Sherwood Hall in Durban has now escalated into scenes of confrontation involving police and a group of Malawian nationals. Police have clashed with a group of Malawian nationals at Sherwood Hall in Durban after what is being reported as a misunderstanding that quickly escalated into a tense confrontation. Authorities reportedly used stun grenades to disperse sections of the crowd after some migrants believed they were about to be arrested. According to reports from the scene, this misunderstanding triggered panic and confusion among residents at the temporary shelter. As tensions rose, some individuals allegedly began throwing stones, branches, glass bottles and other objects, while parts of the crowd moved onto nearby roads, causing disruptions to traffic. The incident took place at Sherwood Hall, which has become a temporary refuge for thousands of migrants, primarily Malawian nationals, as well as individuals from the Democratic Republic of Congo. For more than a week, the facility has been accommodating an estimated 7,000 to 10,000 people who claim they fled their communities because they feared attacks and intimidation amid growing anti-illegal immigration protests taking place in various parts of the country. During the past week, buses organized for voluntary repatriation have been arriving to transport willing Malawian nationals back to Lilongwe. However, despite these efforts, the population at the shelter has remained significantly high. Humanitarian organizations have been providing emergency assistance, including food, blankets, mattresses, infant formula and other necessities. Yet officials continue to warn that overcrowding, sanitation concerns and limited infrastructure are placing enormous pressure on disaster management teams and support agencies operating at the site. Authorities are reportedly considering relocating portions of the population to alternative facilities, including sports grounds nearby, while implementing measures to separate vulnerable groups such as women and children from adult males. What makes this development particularly significant is that until now, the Sherwood operation had largely unfolded without major violent confrontations. Buses were arriving, families were registering, people were voluntarily returning home, humanitarian agencies were assisting, government departments were processing documentation. But now questions are beginning to emerge. What changed? How did a situation that appeared relatively stable suddenly deteriorate into clashes with law enforcement? Was this purely a misunderstanding, or does it reveal deeper frustrations building beneath the surface? And perhaps more importantly, what message does it send to a country already engaged in an intense national debate about illegal immigration? Those questions become even more relevant when we shift our attention to Tembisa, because while tensions were unfolding in Sherwood, another movement was gathering momentum elsewhere.
Kuphela ngizawethu kubingelela nokubonga abafowethu okhumalo nokubambisana kuhle nothatewethu usandile simbonile mfowethu phakela labonke abahola abahlele lana eTembisa community services kubalulekile ukuthi abahola basukumele indawo yangakubo sibabalule futhi sibawonge ke intente bakwethu cabanga uhulumeni uyabona ukuthi ngempela umkhankaso wethu uthela ithelo ngithi namanje ngisamangela ukuthi kwenziwa yini ukuthi uhulumeni asibebona uma abantu abangaphekwa 20,000 behlangene ngisho lapha eThekwini umsibongo Home Affairs ukhuluma iqiniso lokuthi akho ngisho yedwa onamaphepha. Leyo nto leyo ikutshela ukuthi izwe lethu bengesolone lethu besedliwe. Kodwa ke sicela ke bathandaza abakuthandazise thina sidinteleze singene emgwaqweni sithi
Salmonan Asenwalen.
Yes, we can talk. You can tell us about the purpose of this march today.
The purpose of this march is umphakathi wala eTembisa siyakhala siyacomplaina. We want intervention the state. We want intervention ka government. We are tired ngalabantu laba bala illegally who came here to terrorize our communities. We are marching against illegal immigration and we are marching against crime. Tembisa is a crime scene. That is why emphakathini kunabantu abafaka ama-boom gates. So sihlangene umphakathi namhlanje sizokhala sizothi sicela ugovernment usizwe sicela istate sisizwe mabe bayahluleka basitshele sizenzele.
And now the president spoke about this yesterday and said that you should allow government to try and deal with this issue.
Yeah, government akasebenze manje. Angithi nathi sasebenza manje. Government akasebenze manje. So it tried to deal with this issue enganamphumela manje ayisebenzeli thina. So umphakathi lenkinga isihlangabeza each and every day. Inkinga every day akusinkinga yokuthi kumele kuhlale ema-boardroom ukhulunywe isilungu kuplanwe cha. What we are saying sithi umphakathi akube ne-intervention manje. Akube ne-intervention manje ukubonakala umehluko manje. Ayikho into eshodayo. Makhulunywa ngamasosha akhona amasosha, makhulunywa ngamaphoyisa akhona amaphoyisa. Manje amaphoyisa maningi ukudlula thina. Amaphoyisa kuba ngathi yimarch yamaphoyisa le and it's our march. So sithi umphakathi sisalinda abanye abantu bayeza babonana. Abantu baphuma ngathi beze emsebenzini. It shows ukuthi labantu abasebenzi. Umphakathi awusebenzi. So we have an issue yabantu bangaphandle ababulala abantu la eTembisa. We have an issue ye crime la eTembisa. So we want to deal with that.
Where to from here? Where are you going to?
From manje siya police station. Aweza amaphoyisa nabaphathi babo bonke sifuna ukubatshela ikhalo zethu somphakathi. Number 2 wonke lama tax shop mele avalwe. Namhlanje avalwa kodwa mele bahambe.
Avala namhlanje.
Namhlanje awavalwe, but mabavala bapreparele ukuhamba ngoba manje asizukuvumela umuntu ozovula futhi. We are tired, so umphakathi sikhathele, we want change.
In Tembisa, community members, civic organizations, activists and political formations gathered in significant numbers to participate in a march focused on illegal immigration and related socio-economic concerns. According to organizers, the purpose of the march was to demand stricter enforcement of immigration laws, stronger border management, improved documentation systems, and greater accountability from government institutions tasked with regulating migration. Speakers at the gathering argued that uncontrolled illegal immigration places additional pressure on public services, employment opportunities, housing resources, healthcare facilities, and law enforcement capacities. Throughout the march, participants repeatedly emphasized that their campaign is directed at illegal immigration rather than legally documented foreign nationals. Organizers further outlined a series of demands which they believe the government must urgently address if public confidence in immigration management is to be restored. The event remained centered on public mobilization, community engagement, and the expression of concerns shared by many South Africans who believe illegal immigration has become one of the country's most pressing challenges. The contrast between Sherwood and Tembisa is striking. On one side, we see migrants seeking safety, shelter, and certainty about their future. On the other side, we see South Africans demanding stronger enforcement of immigration laws and accountability from the government. Both groups are responding to fears. The difference is that those fears come from different experiences. For migrants, the fear may be deportation, instability, uncertainty, or vulnerability. For many South Africans, the fear centers around unemployment, crime, strained public services, and a belief that immigration laws are not being adequately enforced. What makes this situation so difficult is that neither side believes it is being fully heard, and when people feel unheard, tensions inevitably rise. This is why the issue can no longer be reduced to slogans, emotions, or political sound bites. The country is now confronting a complex reality that requires honest discussions, lawful solutions, and decisive leadership. Because whether one supports stricter immigration enforcement or advocates for migrant protection, one fact remains undeniable: the current system is under immense pressure. The developments in Sherwood and the mobilization in Tembisa are not isolated events. They are symptoms of the same national conversation. One reflects the human consequences of migration. The other reflects growing public frustration over how migration is managed. Together, they demonstrate that immigration has moved beyond being a policy issue. It has become a major social, political, and economic issue shaping public discourse across South Africa. And it is against this backdrop that comments made by senior political leaders have attracted significant public attention. Many South Africans expected to see a shift in momentum following recent statements from President Cyril Ramaphosa and Minister Gayton McKenzie, who called for an end to violence and urged citizens not to engage in unlawful actions under the banner of protest. For some activists and patriots who have long campaigned against illegal immigration, these remarks came as a surprise. Many argue that Gayton McKenzie once stood shoulder to shoulder with communities raising concerns about border security and illegal immigration. Others believe his current position reflects the responsibilities that come with holding public office. But before drawing conclusions, let us first listen carefully to what he had to say.
There's an issue that needs to be addressed. And I want to say to the ambassadors, I am so happy that you've come. South Africa is dealing with a very serious allegation that we are a xenophobic country. So I want you to go back today after what I'm going to say. When you hear the term Abahambe, I was the one that popularized that term. I was standing with my people fighting against illegal immigration. We went into Parliament. President Ramaphosa appointed me in his cabinet, and I got to understand how government works. The President listens to many views amongst the cabinet ministers. We debate and we'll come to a conclusion. Now this President did not start the problem of illegal immigration. He found illegal immigration. It has been with us. But for me, as one of the people that is the loudest about it, this president is the first one that has listened to our cry that we don't want people that are undocumented. We have nothing against foreigners, but they must be documented. We don't hate foreigners. We don't want people here. So to President Ramaphosa, many people are claiming now the changes that government is doing is because last week they started to march. Government don't operate like that. The issue has been on the table of the president. We hear law enforcement must handle this matter. To the young people, don't let them use you. Don't let them tell you on the 30th you must remove illegal foreigners. You will go to jail and they will not bail you out. They will be nowhere. The cops are the only people that must remove illegal foreigners. Don't use our children for your political agendas. Illegal foreigners must go, but not violently. We are not a violent country. And you must never move young people to do crime because you don't know jail. I'm speaking as a person that spent my whole youth in jail. I'm not going to sit in South Africa and hear young people are being given instructions on the 30th to hurt illegal foreigners. That one, it shall never happen for as long as I'm alive. We've got a government, there's a law enforcement. If you want to remove illegal foreigners, do it by yourself. Bring your own children so that the cops will deal with you. Our matter is on the table. So I want to be clear. The government is removing illegal foreigners. The government has listened to us. Let us allow the government to do their job. You don't need even to vote for me if you want. I don't agree that we should use violence. We are not a violent people. All we are asking, ambassadors, is for all of us to hold up the mirror. Our people need jobs. Our people are suffering because they don't have jobs. So I'm asking the ambassadors to take the message back that we are not against foreigners. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, but illegal foreigners in this country, we have laws like you have laws. I'm a minister, but when I go to another country, I must produce my passport. So we demand the same in South Africa. We demand the same in South Africa. We've got laws that should be respected.
After listening to the minister's remarks, one thing becomes clear. There is a noticeable difference between the Gayton McKenzie many people remember from years ago and the Gayton McKenzie speaking today as a cabinet minister. Previously, he was often seen participating in border-related activism, publicly criticizing failures in immigration enforcement and speaking directly to communities frustrated by illegal immigration. Today, however, his message centers on legality, institutional processes, law enforcement agencies, and constitutional procedures. Some supporters interpret this as a retreat from positions he once championed. Others argue it is simply the reality of governance. The truth may lie somewhere in between. Activism and government are not the same thing. An activist can demand immediate action. The frustrations are real. The humanitarian concerns are real. The pressures on communities are real. The challenges facing law enforcement are real. But so too is the responsibility to ensure that every response remains lawful, measured and consistent with the principles that govern the country. South Africa cannot afford a future where communities and migrants see each other only as opponents, nor can it afford a future where legitimate public concerns are ignored. The challenge ahead is not choosing one side over another. The challenge is finding solutions that uphold the law, secure the borders, protect communities, preserve human dignity, and restore public confidence in the state's ability to manage immigration effectively. The coming weeks will reveal whether authorities can achieve that balance. because as tensions continue to rise, the decisions made today may shape the national conversation for years to come. What do you make of the developments at Sherwood? Do you believe the events were simply a misunderstanding, or do they reveal a deeper frustration surrounding immigration in South Africa? And what is your view on the growing number of marches taking place across the country? Let us know your thoughts. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and take care.